What up, everybody? Back to another stream today. Gonna hop on here for a little quick one, probably 2 to 3 hours. Got some time on my hands, so decided to come on here and work on a couple other things I kind of left off working on. I don't know if you guys remember, but last time I was working on some like newsletters and preferences and managing all that, and I pretty much got all that figured out on my end on Postmark. I got their approval for everything, tested it, everything seems to be working pretty well. Opened, so figured all that out with the APIs and everything. So that was nice to get done and off my plate. And now I'm going back to the last kind of major feature I had left off for this kind of network or social platform was like a collectives feature, which I'll kind of go into a little bit here. But yeah, I'm gonna try to see how far I can get on this in the next couple of hours. Let me test something out real quick. Oh, I know why. You just test something out. All right. So, like I said, I'm trying to kind of figure out this last major feature that I want to do for like this kind of first version of my application. And now I'm kind of going through a full-on rebase because I had left off on this, I don't know, maybe a month, almost 2 months ago now. So I've definitely done a lot of side things that needed to get done, kind of security-wise and infrastructure-wise, to get cleaned up on different branches. So now I'm kind of trying to rebase this current branch that I was working on to get the old commits and kind of get everything up to date. And they can be kind of a bitch a little bit, but kind of go through these. This is mostly just added schema stuff that I had, so these should be all good to go. Stage those. That should be staged. Let's stage that, and then right. So I need to all right, let me see my agent doing. What I'm kind of running to now is, because I did do a ton of changes on other branches and kind of merge them together, I don't know if I need to rename some of my migrations to get everything in line again, because there could be some conflicts. Yeah, see, click on here. All right, let me see what this is doing. me see what it says I should do in this situation. Nice. So that works. Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to figure out now is I have parallel migration numbering. So 0015, these are the ones from this actual branch I had, or past branch, and then this branch I had already made some commits, and you're going to have some numbering conflicts. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to handle that. Never really had to rebase too often because I typically build alone, or like at most one other person, so we're typically on the same page. So let me see how I can do this. Says remove the conflicting. Drop the incoming feature. Migration files. Okay. All right. Like I said, I never really rebased before, so trying to figure this out. I didn't really think about this, but migrations can be kind of an issue, and I have some naming conflicts. So basically, it's telling me keep all my old or my rebased migration files, and then drop the ones from this branch and just regenerate them from a fresh standpoint, which kind of makes sense to me. So this is the current change. It says keep. All right, so I'm gonna keep this one. Newsletter campaigns, add organization context to post comments. Let's accept that one as well. And then let's go in here and drop these files. Schema, I'm gonna say view. What am I get? Shouldn't have that conflict anymore. Newsletter. All right, stage this. Let's drop this. Let's just do it from the File Explorer. Let's see this. Let's go here. 1.6. 8. Drop those, and then let's grab these. Well, let's drop those. All right, so that should have allowed my rebase to continue. Cool. Wait, which one am I missing? Staged. Oh, I see what the problem is. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I accepted only the new changes and it got rid of my new tables, which I actually need for this branch. Right. All right, cool. So I don't want to just accept current. I want both. Members and organizations invitations. Let's accept both of those. What do you mean you can't find those? Yeah. All right, accept both of those as well. This isn't finished off somewhere. Shit. Let's see. All right, so I need both of those. I don't know why this is getting cut off here. All right, I'm gonna go check my GitHub and make sure I have the right file. So it's gonna be my staging branch, I believe. Let's go staging. All right, I think that fixed it. All right, cool. I think that's clean now. So we can go ahead and add this. Let's add all these, and then yeah. All right. What do you mean? All right, so rebasing is kind of a pain in the ass, I'm not gonna lie. Current change. All right, so this is the last file I need to figure out. How do I handle conflicts on this file? Dates and times. I think that's the main issue, is that I tried to just take the new change, but that messes up the log. So each side added different sessions. All right, so it says keep both session objects if each side added different session IDs, and for the same session ID, keep the newer timestamp fields. Count size. All right, so last updated. Think I should just accept both, maybe. No. This file is non-function. For side is lesser noise. Do not spend time hand merging every day unless you need. No. This log was. The last thing I need to figure out for this rebase, I don't really know how to handle this file. State shows on there's a conflict. Also, that does not point to a branch message. Taking upstream version. All right, let's just do their way. Cool. All right, so I fixed it. Not essential. This is basically spec stories. Basically history of all the messages I've done. Never really thought about this when thinking about doing rebases, but good to know now how to kind of manage that. Just take the upstream version and mark it as resolved. Cool. So now I need to regenerate those. Let me stop my containers and start them back up. Okay, let's try. See if I can get those files. Collected volume. All right, that should be good. Let's try that. Nope. There's definitely a conflict somewhere in these files. All right, so instead of going through all that myself, I'm gonna have it examine these itself and find out what's the problem. Can you found detailed. Can you find out why? And there's definitely a conflict somewhere in these migration files because of that rebase. I'm not really trying to figure out why. All right, alter these tables, create index, that's fine. Cross post notification. All right, it's gotta be this newsletter probably. Recipient status. Right here, that's probably the conflict. Campaign status and recipient, and it's gotta be it. I wonder. Remove those. Newsletter campaign. Perfect. I'm gonna leave it for now. Pretty sure it is a newsletter kind of conflict. Theo Wahlberg, man, what's up? Man, thanks for joining chat. Wishing you the best, man. Appreciate that, man. Same to you. All right, let's figure out. Where's change? Yeah, duplicates for sure. All right, that's what I thought. It's cutting duplicate of my newsletters because I already had it done in here. And for whatever reason, it did not get updated in my Drizzle generations or like whatever log. So it didn't know that these were already called. So it, once again, tried to re-add them to its new migration, which I think is, you know, something I have to do with just another nice little thing that comes with rebasing, which is not my favorite thing to do. Yeah, my data Snapchats are missing. Exactly what I thought. Or so it didn't know that actually you had added those. Which it had me delete earlier, so maybe that's just bring those back. All right. So I was, you know, I'm on the right path. So I kind of knew what the issue was. Why my migration is failing is because it re-added or trying to re-add my newsletter files that were already added in previous migrations, which were brought into this branch from rebasing, and that causes a conflict, which, you know, I've had multiple times before. So I figured this is what it was. And then in the rebase process, I deleted some of the old snapshots, and because of that, it didn't regenerate new ones. So it didn't see that those were already added to the schema. So now it's causing a kind of conflict. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to handle that. Inconsistent, All right, so it's saying I should delete all the, which I was going to do anyways, delete all these little newsletter statements from this new migration. And then also email preferences, and then rerun. If, all right, let's see, if I restore options. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna restore these. Oh, this is an annoying one. And you remove those. It's from, it's fine. I think it'll work. Not. All right, let's do that. Only thing I wonder about now is, all right, so if I remove that and let's say this actually does work now, what about future generations and migrations? Am I gonna have an issue in because it doesn't have that in a snapshot? Which I'll need to probably create another generated file. I don't know. Let's figure this out. Spell that wrong. Yeah. All right. Rebasing sucks, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This no problem. Very script. Do you check my tables? Planetary data running no fails upgrade. Already exist. All right, so basically it partially migrated some of my files, and I think that's causing a conflict now. Correctly, already contains, does not show as applied yet, so draw again. It fails first grade because it already exists. All right, so basically it's saying I should just drop my whole DB, which I might do. Yeah, keep that into this instead. Like, insert a migration record. All right, let's just open a whole new let's see if it's actually in my tables. They are actually, nope, those collections, yeah. Collectors following. Should be organizations is here. All right, so I actually have those in my table, so it did do a partial. Honestly, one of the best parts about agents is dealing with kind of stuff like this is that it can just create these scripts and add those manual insertions to tables to make things align that you don't have to do yourself or completely drop a table. So it has been nice that you have this opportunity to just let your agent do stuff like that, because otherwise I'd have to figure out a way to manually insert these and get my drizzle kind of table up to date. But with the agent, they know what's going on and they can just make those scripts for you, and they delete those scripts right after. So that is one nice thing about this. So should have been repaired. Insert the missing migration ledger row, okay, into my migrations table, which you should be able to see right here. If I come here, for example, should be one. This is the one it should be. So yeah, so this is the one I just created. So my migrations table should be up to date now. It says I should reach for my missing metadata snapshots. I don't know if I should, but let's see. This one's to be restored. I removed earlier. Do I still need 8.1. All right, let's see this. It's asking for a file that was removed. Wait a minute. Actually, don't know where that file went. I should double check this. So it should be fine. This is my actual reference. I have 16 now, and no, I was wrong. That's wrong. Where's this? It's this file that needed it. And I removed this one, but I don't think I need this still. Check my Git, make sure I don't have. Don't. All right, let's double check that. I think I can remove this one. I just restored this one, and there was no 16. I don't have an 18, so let's remove this. All right, hopefully I can avoid rebases in the future. And SQL files are missing amount of snapshots. I'll check. It's too. Yeah, where is that snapshot? That is a good question. All right, so it's saying. Shame parent. Let's run this again. All right, no conflicts. Do not have. All right, so it should be good anyways. I'm missing that, but it's not the biggest issue. That's when they start. All right, cool. So I should be clean now. I try to avoid rebasing as much as possible, but I had to do this, and there was a lot of changes that were added in between my last commits, and clearly need to figure out a better way to handle Drizzle and my DB on rebasing, because it can be kind of a bitch to kind of figure out. Sure, everything is still working. All right, cool. Still loads up. That's fine. Active all right. All right, so try to figure out where I left off. All right. So my last major feature I was working on, it was this thing called collectives, which is also the name of, this application is collective. Basically what a collective is, it is in my kind of like thinking what is going to be a sort of separate page for users to have accounts of, and they could invite other creatives and everything to join it, like you would have like in a creative collective. And from that collective, you'd have the ability to kind of cross post and share, while that page would have its own kind of notifications and messaging and everything. It would basically exist as a full profile, but it would have the ability to have multiple members within that same profile, and multiple members from that profile would be able to basically request to have their posts shared directly to that profile. So like if you followed a collective, for example, you'd be able to see a ton of different artists or musicians or whatever from that same page without necessarily knowing them or having to follow them. So I think that, like a label or somebody like that could find some really cool use for this. You see it on Instagram, like an artist will have like multiple pages, their band page, then individual page, and then the label will have a page for them, and label kind of post their stuff for them. But if you had just like one central page where everybody can kind of share posts to, I think that'd be a pretty cool thing to do. And that's basically what I'm trying to figure out. And honestly, from my last SaaS app that I just released and put out, honestly, it's shaped a lot of how I'm going to be doing this, because I'm using Betteroff to handle a lot of this, which allows you to create these things called organizations, which allows you to have multiple members, and also handles a lot of the roles and permissions up front without you having to dig too deep into the weeds. So I'm just kind of reusing that and refactoring to this. So me getting that SaaS out and actually figuring out that whole process has really shaped how I'm going to go forward with this. All right, so I don't remember exactly where I left off. Let's see. So as you can see, normal, like any other network platform, you can follow users and they can follow you back, but you can also follow tags. For example, if you wanted to see all of the posts from a specific category or, thing that you like, for example, you can see all the platforms posts that have been tagged with that, and also collections and members as well. You could also follow collections, kind of same thing, kind of similar to collectives, except that a collection is that you can personally make yourself from your profile, and you can share and add things that you like, and people can follow that collection so they can see stuff that you like and kind of like view you as sort of a tastemaker. I think that's a pretty cool kind of addition. but also we're going to be extending that to full profile. So you can also kind of like tap into this and message directly from this as, for example, a label or anything like that, while still maintaining your own personal profile and not having to like hop in between the two or lock in and lock out. You can just literally just come here and say switch to that. So let's do that. Let's trying to get up to where I left off, and I don't remember exactly where I left off. I think this is where I left off, was actually building the form for this. So let's kind of dig into this. Potato 733, good luck, brother, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for joining the chat. All right, so let's see where I left off. I got these out the way. The let's see. Here it is. All right. This is the form. Let's go here. Hate those little margins that they add. All right, cool. So now I want to come here, click this. I think I mostly finished off this form, if I remember correctly. All right, so for example, let's say I have, let's just use my platform that I have. Let's go. Just call you. Cool. Username is available. Checker works. All right, so I did do a lot more than I remembered. Add this. Let's just add a cover. Let's go. Let's make this as real as I can. All right, let's just test all these out. Let's go. Go here. try that. And let's why is this? Oh. All right, let's see if this works. Created it. Here is the actual page. All right, so it does work. Created it. Listed my member card right here. All right, cool. So I actually got pretty far. I don't remember how far I got on this. Followers, members, link. Don't know why these aren't working. Let's figure that out. And then just that, but I want it to look pretty much one-to-one with a regular profile. Because you also should be able to, let's say, for example, mention a collective. Let's see. Let's come in here. Oop. Switch. I'm a member. All right, so it shows up here. Interesting. All right, let's see if we can't clean that up. Click on the manage. Something is weird there. Let's see what's going on there. Surrounding reference client. All right. Something the client is. Shouldn't be an issue, but it seems to be. Delete postmark suppression. Yeah, why is that an issue? All right. Basically saying it's calling a server function in a client, which is actually isn't a client, but it shouldn't be a problem. I don't know why it is. Getting pulled into the client somehow. What does that? Switch it to. That's what I haven't. That's what I haven't wired up yet. Is the actual switching. It's entering the client bundle, then apply a memory factor. Imports a type from auth.ts, which pulls that server module. Okay. Do I not need that though? Yeah, I need that infer. What's going on here? Let's do that. Let's remove this type. Better auth client plugin. All right. Look at their docs. There it is. Let's do that as well. If your server and client code reside in the same project, you can use to automatically infer additional fields. It says type of auth. If your client server are separate projects, you'll need to manually specify additional fields when creating an auth client. Okay, so I think that's the workaround I'm about to do. In the documentation, it's I think I'm gonna need to manually wire in maybe those fields that I need for additional fields, plugins, which I think it already inferred. Client use. Right. So that did what I was about to do anyways. I figured that it had to manually configure those exact fields. Reference. Do I not have? And that's all for my user. Should be the fix. That should be fine. Should be fixed. Could probably be cleaner, I think, because if I need to, I don't know. Let me see. Right now, I'm just looking at my whole build. That might take a second. All right, while doing that, let's come in here. Let's go layout. Functions. This is all right, cool. Members. Tag list. For whatever reason, my tag list ain't. Okay, so then I the link fine. Right, these link for whatever reason, but then if I come into these don't, why is that disabled? All right, let's figure this out. Let's go on disabled. There's no disabled function, so why the? Yeah. All right, let me do this. Lib off that server imported route. All right, that might take a minute. This members. I'm pretty sure I have a card member. What I'm missing here. Figure that out. I don't remember I got what exactly I needed on that one. Well, I'll check this out. Galactic Pass, Yo Dario, when I release Mythos, that'd be nice. Probably wouldn't be live streaming if that was the case. If I could release Mythos and I was the president of Anthropic, that would be very nice. All right, I think it finally fixed my issue. So if I removed all those, what the hell did it do then? Okay, so I removed it from the header and it's just calling it directly in the functions. I don't know if that's better. Let me see. Server entry point, code traditional user fields, type check passed. All right, we'll just go with that. And then try to figure out users where with tags with tag true. That's what I'm missing. Is that not what I'm missing? Tags. Tags with tag true. Then you pass on. All right, so doing that, I'm gonna tell it to refactor with my user grid. With a user. All right, cool. Let's do that. Now let's figure out why. All right, did it wrong. No. All right, because if I come here and let's say I come here, I should be able to see it like this. Should get a user card grid like this, and that's not what it did. So let's come back here. User grid. Now it should have used the same. Let's come here. Cool. Let's update this though. Almost everyone's missing username, tag, and following. Tags and a following button. All right, does it remove those? Cool, get rid of the badge. With columns, extras table, grab my following information and grab the tag. Okay. Members, users. All right, that looks good. So now when I come back here, I should get the actual cards I need. All right, cool. So it actually gives me the card with the tags attached to it, and I can go to the profile. Cool. Now I do need switch into this collection, create post, remembrance pressure. Cool. I do want a little badge here in the corner, maybe to display if that person is the owner. Let's see what I want to do. Maybe a star or something like that. What do you think? Maybe a circle star. Let's see. It's pretty cool too. Yeah. figure that out. All right, so members looks good. About page looks fine. Stats, followers created. Come to my profile. What that look like? So what I want, keep that same pattern. Open a new tab. Let's come here. All right. Like I said, I want to be pretty identical to how profiles currently look. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Go about, let's go to the profile. This is my stats, which profile user links. What is this? All right, let's just take this whole thing. EG card. User link as any. All right, yeah, I don't like that. So let's come here. Let's just take this outer one. What's this link? Ew. All right, I know what I'm doing wrong. This whole thing. Here. Let's copy this as my sidebar. Backwards. No. Let's grab you. Let's grab you. Just my links. Just click the links. All right, so that, and then I'm gonna need this. Followers. This, and then all right, let's see. Almost, something's not quite right. Let's figure this out. X62D, what up, man? How did I get into development? I've kind of talked about this a few times, but basically I've always, dabbled in computer engineering, software development, something with computers. Since I was very young, I've always kind of I've built my own computers before. When I was a kid, I've always kind of modified my dad's computer, my own computers. So I was always kind of involved with programming and stuff like that, and doing stuff on my own since I was a kid. Always was an interest for me. When I first went to college, my first degree was actually going to be computer engineering, but I was also a Division I basketball player who had a pretty full schedule and wanted to have a actual life and enjoy what I was doing. So it was not possible to continue down that road, at least for me. So I basically, didn't go down the road, and I just went full-time basketball. Ended up getting a business degree. But the whole time I was still kind of building stuff on my own on the side, and always dabbling, learning, and just trying out new shit, because that's what kind of interests me. I'm definitely more a builder than I was necessarily like a coder. So always building something was always enjoyable for me. I built systems, I built websites before. And then, I had a 13, 14 year professional career, and now I'm starting to kind of transition over full time into the next chapter of my life that I want it to be. And, it's just something I always found myself coming back to, even on my own in my spare time, just for fun. And I said, why not? Why not just go full time into this? And for the last year to 2 years, I've been coming full time to this, really learning systems and learning how to build stuff from, bottom to top, and learning how to be full stack, and learning everything that goes into an application and running it and all this stuff. So I would say the last year or two, I've been full time, kind of really getting into it. But I've always been a lifelong kind of tinkerer and developer on the side. I always said I was a part-time developer when I was hooping, but this is just me fully getting into it. All right, that looks better, but appreciate the question. I'll eventually have posts, but I'll figure out how I want to count those. Members look good. Let's figure out why this isn't triggering. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, man, anytime. I'm pretty much an open book. Like I've been out here. I don't know. I've probably been streaming. I don't know how long. I think probably about 2-3 weeks, pretty consistently. And yeah, I'm always open to talk to people and like share experiences. And I'm always interested to see where people are coming from and like what they do. So I don't know. I don't know if you're like a developer yourself or you're interested in getting into it, but what's going on with you? Let's check this out. All right. That just looks way better. Why isn't this tag going though? All right. Layout. Tag list. Files. Regular followers. All right. I mean, for the most part, it works. Need to clean this page up. Search for this by username instead. All right. So I actually got pretty far on this last time. I didn't know how far I got in this, but I could probably finish this within the next week. All right, so tagging is working again. That's cool. Let's clean up these cards. I don't like how this looks. Just pretty much do it the same way as this one, maybe. Same as this. Yeah, let's reuse that pattern. All right, so there's something going on behind the scene next, which is weird. Cool. Let's just keep those. Now let's come to my account route. It's using these. Collectors. What I remember of. Great. Like that. Whatever. All right, let's reuse this. Let's go. Don't remember exactly what style it was, but let's recreate this into a. Oh, did I not? I don't have it. All right, so let's refactor this into a component. It's into its own separate component, and you said IT consulting here, but the last 6 months have been almost all dev. Used to be a hobby, but now it's almost all that folks are looking for in my area. Really? I mean, that's cool. Like, one thing I've definitely noticed, I do freelancing on my side. That's also how I've been like really kind of building my skills and learning how to do this full time is I've been doing some freelancing on the side, and people always ask me like, how's like kind of this new AI you know, revolution affecting everything I'm doing. And honestly, it's offered a ton more work for me. Like there's so much work out there, people that have ideas of things that they never thought of before, and they think it's so easy, and then they go ahead and try and build it themselves, and then it's like they end up kind of turning towards somebody that can actually finish it and bring it to life. So that's cool that you're also kind of noticing the same thing you said. It's almost all that folks are looking for, man. It's like everybody's trying to develop something. Everybody's trying to develop something, and people that know how to like take advantage of it, like freelancing and stuff like that, because there's a lot of shitty code and apps and stuff being put out there these days, and there's definitely been a huge kind of even from people I know, like friends and stuff like that, that have definitely been trying to develop their own sort of thing. So I think now is as good of a time as any to actually learn how to do this, even if it's just for your own benefit. I don't want to reuse. What do I want to rename this? Following. Yeah, let's rename. Let's go. All right. This with that new component. Oh, I meant to ask, like, you said you've been getting into almost all dev. Do you develop stuff on your own? Have you built any applications? And if not, like, do you planning kind of get into that side of things? Also update account phone. Yes, update that. All right, cool. So now I have a card that is the same. Actually, I should just make this one component. All right, let's do a little bit more refactoring. Let's go to tag. Following. Refactor this as well with that. Key user initials following variable. Okay, cool. That looks good. And then Um, Abimon, I think that's how you say your name. Sorry if I fucked that up, but yo, what uni do you go to? I mean, can't you see the grays in my beard? I do not go to university. That was years ago for me. I went to university years ago. I used to go to University of Nevada, but that was a while ago. I am not in university still. All right, so I think that cleaned it up. Let's refresh, make sure. All right, cool. So that works. Now let's take that following card. Um, let's refactor this as well. Refactor this component into a new discard component. Is account. So I played professionally. Yeah, I played professionally for about 14 years. Overseas, G League, Summer League, stuff like that. Like, so I played professionally, like at Euro Cup, Champions League, Euro, all that stuff for a long time. Yeah, I did play professional. All right, so here's this card. All right. I should have been explicit because I knew I was going to do that. Let's do this. Let's OP followers. Let's grab this. Actually, let's just take this. Cool. Now let's come here. I want the best an avatar. Don't know how I want to do that. Find where disorganizations. All right. Wants to display all right, let's see. Logo maybe? All right. That's what it is. It's logo. An organization is logo. Logo in the card. I do that. Damn, how did you start this journey of becoming SDE? Really curious about that. I literally just talked about this, but I'll do it again. I've been doing this for a while. I've always been a tinkerer. I've always been dabbling. I've always enjoyed kind of like learning how systems work and building stuff since I was a little kid. And so I've always kind of been involved with it. It's always been something I've done on my own for fun, just enjoying seeing how shit works, especially on computers and in applications. And my first degree when I actually was in college was going to be computer engineering, but it wasn't going to work with my basketball lifestyle. So I switched to business and got my degree. But I've always built stuff on the side, and I've always been pretty active building stuff. My first language I learned was Ruby on Rails. First thing I ever built was on Ruby on Rails, like a full application was Ruby on Rails. I knew a little bit of PHP. I knew a little bit of JavaScript. I definitely knew how to work in like WordPress and all those other kind of CMSs. And then, as I've continued in my career, I always did things on the side. And then as I'm starting to like transition out and wanting to do other things, I knew pretty much is the route I wanted to go. So this last year to 2 years, I've just been going full on and like really learning and really like developing my skills more on I guess you would consider a professional level of being able to build and run full applications and things like that. So it's been like a lifelong journey, but the last year to 2 years, I've really been hammering it full time and like really learning how to make everything come to life as I want, basically. It's a pretty cool skill to have, I think, even if you don't use it in a professional manner. And also, no Claude. No, I've actually never used Claude for my coding. I've started in VS Code, I think like most people. I use GitHub, their pro subscription, which is what, I don't know, what, $30 a month. So I use it with their kind of agents. I use Codex for my like agent when I need things done. But for the most part, no, I don't actually use Claude or have ever used Claude. For the first 6 to 8 months of me like really diving into this, I actually never used AI at all. And the last 2 to 3 months, I've really started to use it. He says game changer, although it takes up a lot of credits. I mean, I'm sure it is. One, I don't like paying for shit that you can do for yourself. So I'm pretty cheap in that regards. And two, as somebody that's still, definitely learning how to develop at a high level, I don't want to just rely on AI for a lot of my thinking and understanding. As I've gotten a greater grasp of things, I've started to allow it to do more and more, but I'm very much a hands-on person. I like to get into the nitty-gritty and understand everything that's going on, and I like to use it in ways of like knowing exactly what I want to do instead of wasting time and building it all out myself. I point it in that direction, but I'm still very much in the learning phase, and I like getting hands-on and getting into nitty-gritty and understanding everything that is going on. So I'm not ready for that yet. Maybe at some point, but right now I enjoy coding. Like, I actually enjoy building systems and watching it come together instead of just telling an agent to build everything. Maybe one day, but not today. I also just feel like when I just do this more and more, like I have such a just the amount you learn just by going hands-on and learning, like it's irreplaceable to me. Still makes that. Like sign up centers, it's not justified between. Let's see what this one is. Trying to keep this the same across the board if I can. Gap 3, okay. That looks better. You said you get it, but sometimes I look at people in hackathons and most use AI, so I kind of feel left out. Even a lot of YC startups, I'm always playing catch up, I feel. I mean, that's definitely valid. I mean, like I said, I don't use AI. Honestly, I'll be honest. Like, the only time I'll ever use an agent is if I'm building something for somebody else. Like, if it's a client or anything, I will absolutely have an agent kind of run most of the work, and then I'll go in and double check, triple check, and make sure everything's up to to standards that I would kind of put out. But for myself personally, these are like all personal applications, and it's like also a kind of like learning tool for me, because building applications is how you kind of like, for me at least, how you learn the most. So for my personal projects, I try to just use it as minimal as possible. But if it's like a paying client or whatever, like someone needs me to do something for them, I 1000% will use an agent and allow them to do that. But for my personal growth and my personal stuff, I don't typically lean on it too heavily. But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get a job, you're trying to make money, you got to use the tools out there. And if it was up to me or somebody else and I needed to get this job or I needed to get this client, whatever, I would 1000% use AI if I needed to. But using AI and still being able to understand at a very deep level of what's actually happening in a code base is like, that puts you so much further ahead of people. Like, I've had people already hit me up to help them fix shit that they've AI coded, because they might have a cursory understanding of what's happening. They don't have a deep understanding of the problems that what they've built and what is continuing to like pile up, and go in and fix that stuff for us. So like, you just avoid so many headaches by at least having a deep understanding of what's actually happening before you hand it off to an agent and whatnot. So I just think there's a lot of problems that come with it, and I personally don't enjoy fixing those. So I feel like if you kind of build from the start, like, and have that core understanding, then yeah, it's like a massive plus for you, because I can go in and read a code and be like, okay, it's actually doing shit the right way. But so many people have come to me already and been like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, I thought this was just gonna work. Like, nah, bro, it really don't work like that. So I mean, to each their own. But if I was getting money, if it's a paid job or whatever, if I need to get this, like, yeah, absolutely will have no problem with using AI. But for my personal shit, I just trust my knowledge more so than a lot of the holes and just unnecessary shit that AI can do. So even when I use it in my stuff, I do it literally by face. I never let it run my entire thing. And then when you do a code base that is like massive, and this is actually a pretty big code base, if I was to like go through everything, it's hard for it to not open up holes in everything that you built, because it's just, there's so much context for it to kind of try to digest and understand. And like, from my experience, AI coded applications are shitty user experiences because they're not users, so they don't fully understand that. So like, the coding isn't the hard part, but it's like actually building an application that users will actually want to use and actually enjoy using. Then building a good UX is so much harder to me than actually coding anything. And I just don't find AI is very good at UX, honestly. W99, what up? How am I finding Tailwind CSS? I love Tailwind, honestly. Like, I went on this rant a few times. Like, I love Tailwind. I know some people will have feelings about it, and it definitely adds a lot of bloat and code to your base. But when you're like developing something and you want to make small changes and you want to like get things done pretty quickly, especially when it comes to like media queries and stuff like that, it's untouchable to me. Like, I'd rather go in and have that granular control than building out these giant like CSS files. Well, one nice thing about Tailwind is that even when you kind of get to a consensus style of like certain components, you can then take those like Tailwind classes and make a custom class and just use that. So that reduces the code substantially. But I love Tailwind. I know people feel some type of way about it, but the ability to just go in there with plain language and tell it exactly what you need to do on a like div by div, span by span. Like, I love granular control. So personally, I love it. I have no problem with it. And users aren't going to see this code base anyway. So like, I don't really care. Damien Esco, you are 100% man. And I appreciate that. Like, I mean, it's just my opinion. Like, I just feel like it's from my experience of coding with AI and without AI. It's just like, I feel like once you understand what's actually happening in code, you really see like, oh yeah, there's definitely some shortcomings with AI coding and vibe coding and stuff like that. And then when you start actually building out systems and you start involving hosting and databases and third-party applications and packages and APIs, shit gets messy very quickly, and AI does not always know what the fuck is going on. There's been plenty of times where I've been like, oh wait, that ain't right. Then I had to go dig into some deep documentation and figure out like what the fuck's going on. And like, yeah, that just not for me yet. 399, thank you, bro. You enjoyed also. Yeah, I mean, I know it's definitely. I know it's from my experience so far. It's definitely been a kind of a split consensus within the community. There's people that obviously been doing CSS and web design for so long before Tailwind ever became a thing, and I've actually been doing CSS probably the longest out of any sort of thing. So like, I actually have a pretty good firm grasp of CSS and like how to build that out. I just don't enjoy it. I don't. And then you have to go dig through all those files and figure out what class is for what. And it's like, nah, I don't like doing that. I bet you don't write your own compiler. I bet you I don't either. I definitely do not write my own compiler. Quite honestly, there's a lot of stuff I don't write necessarily anymore. I'd let AI write a lot of my stuff, but I still think you need to have an understanding of systems and ability to point it at least in the right direction. I feel like that color is wrong. Guess what color is that? What color is that? BG card. All right. Let's maybe do that. It's a little subtle. Let's do this. It's not bad. Let's go. I'm gonna leave it right now. I just like subtlety. I don't want to overdo it. Let's do this. All right, looks good. And then I come here, I collect this. That looks good. Great. Cool. All right, let's strip this page to its own separate. Manage. weird. All right. I kind of want it like this. Go to settings. All right, I think I know what I gotta do. Let's come here. Do this. Let's come here. Oh. Why is it still in my layout? That's weird. All right, let's see. Interesting. I know what I'm gonna do. Actually, this layout, and then the cool. We're back. Hold on, I'm just looking at chat now. Oh yeah, I'm bugging. Jane Doe is my kind of girl. I actually didn't even notice. I don't even remember what picture I picked for her. Is TypeScript the definite answer to JavaScript's criminal syntax, or do you have to go any further to fix it? I mean, shit. From my experience, it seems to be the only answer, honestly. It definitely does not fix everything, but it definitely it's a safeguard that I probably can't code without anymore. I actually learned TypeScript literally by accident because any framework I was using and basically came with it already pre-configured. It was basically the default kind of language it's going to be using, and I kind of just learned it by doing it. But I don't think I could go back to just regular JavaScript, honestly, because now that I like started using TypeScript, I look back and I'm like, damn, there can be a lot of issues that TypeScript definitely be covering up. But it was not a choice. I did not choose TypeScript. Like, it was literally like I just used the framework, and they're like, all right, here's TypeScript. I was like, well, I guess I'll learn. I guess I'll learn how to use this because this seems to be the way. From every kind of listing I ever see, it's like, dude, must know TypeScript, must know TypeScript. I'm like, all right, let's figure this shit out. But yeah, I don't think you can go back. I don't think I could go back at all, honestly, to just vanilla JavaScript. I ain't gonna lie though, when I first looked at it, I was like, damn, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, it took me like probably like a week of just studying shit and like understanding, like really getting a grip of it. Like, well, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I just had no understanding what it was trying to do and why it was doing it and all this other stuff. But now that I do, it's like, oh yeah, nah, I don't think I'd go back. You say you're a coffee script kind of guy. There's just so many, like, that's the only thing about JavaScript. Like, when I was like, all right, because I didn't learn JavaScript at first. First, honestly, my first true language I learned was Ruby on Rails. I just started learning JavaScript because it just seemed to be kind of like the mainstream answer to everything, like any type of job or whatever you're using. It seemed to be come down to JavaScript in some form. Even React is based on JavaScript, so I just kind of fell into it. But like, the only problem I have with JavaScript, line, there's a lot of problems I have with JavaScript, but mostly just like there's just so many different fucking frameworks and languages, things to extend it, and like people just looked at it and was like, oh, this is so shitty that I need to add all these extra things. You need to be using this. Actually, you should be using this. It's like, damn, like it's kind of amazing how widespread it still is to this day, considering all the issues that it had and things people had to just build on top of it to even like make it a useful kind of language. He said Ruby OG. Yeah, I mean, it definitely was OG. Honestly, Ruby is so easy to learn. Like, that shit was so easy to learn. And I actually enjoyed coding in Ruby a lot. Like, I built a full application of Ruby on Rails, and I was like, damn, this is actually pretty nice. I didn't know enough to know about its like limitations and whatnot, but from my experience, it was definitely a very pleasant kind of learning journey. And like, I didn't need to learn 100 different things to build something and like learn all these different frameworks and all these things. Literally, Ruby on Rails is pretty much all you needed to build something back then, and it was pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm kind of JavaScript coded at this point. It's just like, damn, I've just been doing this so much that I don't know if I could go back to Ruby on Rails. I probably could. It took me a little bit to like hop back into that mode, but I actually enjoyed it a lot. I actually don't enjoy JavaScript that much at all. It's just become the default at this point. All right, here's what I'm doing. Let's remove, clean this up. Let's remove that. Let's come here. Let's go manage. All right, so those need to be cleaned up. All right, cool. All right, so here's a couple things I need to do. Let's come here. Actually, I gotta hop off. I'll probably be back on here later tonight. I want to finish some of this off, at least some of the styling things, get everything looking together. Then I'm gonna wire up a couple of things. Honestly, I'll be able to get this done, and now I'm looking at this, I'll probably be able to get this feature done within the week, with testing and everything like that. But I gotta hop off. I actually need to go train some people, but I will be back on here probably tonight. Appreciate all y'all that joined in here. I'll be back. Peace.